I'll be welcoming the new year with no debts. The feeling is just so freeing and so surreal that I'm actually in this place of freedom. I'm able to choose where I want to put my money. Before, I thought I'm gonna have my life here abroad, just focusing on finishing the debts for years. The total of that, oh my gosh, was actually almost half a mil in pesos. Really made me realize what was the root cause of all of this, because I was just used to doing pleasing others, giving for them, and whatever is left is for me. But now it's the other way around. Choosing to enroll to your program was actually choosing myself. Instead of you running to the whoever you think you could tell your problem with about your finances, I think it's better if you just run to the right person who will have the same goal as you. It's very important to grab a hand who actually helps and never judge.
Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm super excited that I've invited another client to inspire you all on how I helped her with clearing her credit card debts in 3 months when she thought it would have to take 3 years. So we'll explore how I guided her to getting into the root of her money problems and building a solid financial plan that gave her really the confidence to become debt free. So without further ado, let me introduce Rona. Say hi.
Hi everyone. Oh my God, I'm very excited to be here. It's so surreal. The feeling is so surreal that I'm actually here as a guest, and I'm actually speaking to you guys. I'm Rana, by the way, and I was once that girl who was drowning in debt, who was lost, and who was very fearful of all the things that's happening to me financially. But I'm happy that I am here now to actually inspire one of you. So yeah, very
Yeah.
excited.
Super, super. And before we went live, actually, we were just talking about looking back how you just started with feeling inspired with watching one of my YouTube videos about like how to clear credit card debts in like 3 steps, and then that really gave you that sign to really get the help that you need. And now here you are being on the other side, and that's always something so fulfilling for me, that you get to be that success story for another person that you will inspire. So with that, if you're able to share like a little bit about your financial situation before we started working together, and what was that turning point that made you decide, okay, it's time to seek for next help.
Okay, so as what I was mentioning, I was that girl who was drowning in debt that I did not benefited from because I was so busy pleasing the wrong people in my life. And I was that girl who was lost and did not know where to go anymore. I was feeling fearful and alone. So parang I was in that place na when you imagine yourself, you're in that room and you're alone, you're in the corner of that room and you're alone. I was that. And then uh, I'm not new to Nick's community. In fact, this is my second time enrolling myself. So I was just browsing and browsing through my Instagram and look through it. And then I think it was one of those videos where you uploaded saying that he was able to clear debts through your help. And I really finished that video. Not only did I finish the video, but I repeatedly watched the video until I had the courage to, you know what, I will just reach out to Nick. Anyway, wala namang mawawala. So I reached out to you. I asked, how can I be part of the program again? And I'm just so happy that you were so welcoming as ever. And then, yeah, I think what's more important to mention is that when you are in that situation and you feel so alone, it's very important to find the right people to share it with. I know we have friends, I know we have family, but it's different to find a person that actually is, or that will go through with you through that problem. Kasi financial problem for me, I'm not proud of it. It's not something that I am proud of. Like that action, how I did it, how I decided on that. It's not really easy, and but finding one person that would have the same goal as you, which is to resolve the problem, is very, very important. because maybe you have a sibling to talk about it or a friend to talk about it. But really, after that, what's gonna happen? You'll still go back, you know, alone. Ikaw na lang ulit, and ikaw na lang ulit mag-figure out. But I think what really pushed me is that no, I realized that I cannot do this alone. Doing it alone made me just more fearful. Like, I feel more and more fearful that all I wanted to do was hide.
Mm.
So I needed someone whom I know would be there to encourage me to resolve my problem and to say, now, look, you don't have to be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. All you have to do is face the problem because I'm here to face it with you. Ganon.
Yes, when you were sharing and looking back at where you were, what I really pictured was like, when we were kids and we were so scared of something, and then maybe like an adult would be like, hindi, like if they just sat with you and like help you acknowledge like, hey, I know you're scared right now, but then wala naman talaga multo sa closet eh. Like wala namang kakain sa'yo doon. Like and I remember when we were kids na sometimes we had those fears na we just needed to feel validated, and at the same time we also just wanted someone to be beside us and let us know like, hey, it's not gonna be the end of the world because you have this fear in front of you. We can face it together.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how it was, in our journey na I sat with you, like in that dark corner, and made you realize like, hey, you have the decision to open the light. You have the power to open that light again and
Yes.
realize that.
Power. Yes. The power to open.
Yes. And maybe you just forgot that you did have that power. Like you thought that you were just drowning in that darkness and realized that, hey, if I just have someone with me, I can see that light again. And maybe someone also feels that way. Now, okay, I feel like there's no other way, or like there's no one I can talk to. I feel like that's a big factor also. Na drown ka na nga sa
Mm-hmm.
financial struggles mo, sa yun nga, like not feeling proud of your decisions, and that really hinders you from doing anything because you're like, who else will help me, or how can I find a solution? So for that person right now who may be feeling the same way, like for you, like what do you think ultimately were the biggest challenges that you faced when you tried to pay it off on your own, when you tried to pay off your credit card debts on your own?
Oh, I was paralyzed. I think that's the word. I was paralyzed.
Mm,
Kasi it did not move. Aside from it did not move, it did not improve. My debts are getting worse and worse. So is my situation because I was so fearful to actually just open an email from the bank or actually
mm,
open a text from the bank. I didn't have like I was overthinking everything. I had a lot of what ifs. And since
mm,
I don't have anyone who understands my situation, sa sarili ko lang yun. Wala akong
mm,
mapagsasabihan or to consult with, hey, look, I have this emails from the banks. What do I do with it? Because I did not have the courage to actually open any of it. I did not know how much really was the amount.
mm,
I did not know the interest. Like, I didn't have the interest to scrutinize the amount. So parang I was running away from my
mm,
problem. And then only then I realized because I was running away from the problem, it's becoming worse and worse. That time when I was alone, I did not have the courage to face that I actually have. I know I was aware that I have the problem, but I was running away from it. And I think that was the biggest challenge because
mm,
although it was nasa isip mo lang siya, pero
mhm,
really, because you don't have the courage to actually face the problem, and then what you expect is matatapos siya. I don't know, I'm sorry for the word, but it's so stupid for you to think about matatapos yung problema mo if you'll not look at the problem, which is, oh my God, I think the worst thing I've ever done.
mm,
So really when I think I reached out to you and I opened up na ganito nga because when you go to Nick it's not immediately she will say okay be my student. No, she will ask so many questions, and through that question you will able to reflect and realize, oh nga no, by the end of the day I'm accountable for what I do, and yeah, the consequences of that ako din yung sasalo.
ultimately the biggest challenge was really being paralyzed, because that's why there could be so many resources out there telling you, okay, you clear debts this way, you do this method XYZ, but then it's one thing to know about that, but then not having the ability or the courage to do the step because you're so paralyzed of like, what if I make the wrong thing, or what if I just don't want to see the problem again, like that's why it's so important that dito pasok yung mindset, right? The importance
Mhm.
of really tackling the mindset before we tackle the numbers. Kasi
Mhm.
that's what we did throughout the process, is really helping you understand like what were those mindset blocks and barriers
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
kept you paralyzed from
Uh-huh.
facing those things. And ultimately, what you said then na it's not about, okay, I tell you, you just do this. No, I teach you to be accountable for yourself.
Yes, very account. Can I just mention that?
Yeah.
Knowing that you're there
Yeah.
to make me realize that I'm accountable for my actions. And then there are just two things if you're already a student being coached by Nick. It's one, on the next coaching day, you will be so scared because you didn't do your assignment. Or second, you will be so excited to share with her the news, that what you did within that week because you did it for yourself. So it's always a win-win that when you go to her, parang, oh my God, excited, Nick, you know what? I actually reached out to the bank and this and that. But I think on my side, there were a lot of times that I was still, backing off and not really giving it fully, like, okay, I reach out and then that's it. I reach out, I do not follow up when they do not reply. I don't care. The point is I reached out, that's it. But I was not so really pursuing na I have to end the debt. I have to reach out to the bank. I have to let them reply. But there were you was telling me, okay, so it was a really simple, okay, so ano nang nangyari? But it was so powerful na parang, oh my God, I have that responsibility now. And that responsibility is about me, having you there, making me accountable of my actions was really, really big thing. And it was so focused on me na if I don't get to do it, girl, you will receive the consequence. There's nobody else in there. Like, she will push you to do the hard things, but really, it will make things easier for you after that.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way of putting it na sometimes kasi like it's the first important push of effort that you need that will create the momentum,
Mm-hmm.
right? Pero syempre the first uncomfortable thing, like the first hard thing for you to like do the thing, it's gonna be a bit harder because again, like there are a lot of like yun nga yung overthinking, the what ifs, ganyan. And that's why I feel like yun yung importance ng having someone with you, yes, to share like what you're struggling with, but also having someone to guide you in making sure that you follow through with what you need to do.
Yes.
Kasi ayun sabi mo difference na okay, sometimes you have friends or you have your partners, you rant, but then what's next? Like
Yes.
how do I actually overcome this? And I feel like throughout our session, sabi mo din na slowly it was like that, na you felt like, okay, I was empathizing with you, but then at the end of the session, there will always be something that you
Yes.
needed to do. And so, looking back, like, what do you think ultimately made the difference in our coaching that allowed you to finally make that progress in clearing your debts?
Oh, I think I would mention the mindset shift that you helped me with. Because before you, as I was mentioning, I was just pleasing others. I think you made me realize how much my life was built to please others. But more importantly, you made me realize how it's very important to burn it all down and rebuild it for myself. Ang dami doon. Like, for example, number one, lagi kong sinasabi dati, I used to believe that if I don't please them, then they won't love me. But during this one session that we have, and this is very important for me because it changed everything from that moment on. That when you made me realize, no matter what, they actually love me. They actually love me.
Mm,
They just don't want to see me hurt. And
mm,
so because I already realized that, then I also realized that, you know what? Um, I actually have the last say about my money. Like I have the control. Like I always have the control on how I want my money to be used. Kasi nga before, I used the money as tool to please everybody. Kasi I thought when I say no, When
Mm.
I say no, then that would mean na wala na, hindi na nila ako ma-recognize as me. They won't, alam mo yon, masisira yung relationship, and that's the thing that I was so fearful about, I guess, na when I don't please them, then they don't recognize that I'm there in their life. So I think one of the things really that I have to thank you about is really made me realize what was the root cause of all of this, because maybe some others would think, and when they come to you, you will immediately dig into numbers. Pero hindi. This is my second time with Nick, and I would always say na the first time is not the same as the second time, but what makes me go back again and again, come back to you again and again, is that there's this magic that you do, that you make me realize that it's not really always about the numbers. It's not really the money. There's deeper reason about everything.
Yeah. And that's why I always talk about like how every money problem that we have, there's always a deeper underlying root
Uh,
problem. And I remember when you said that when we were really digging deep into everything, and you're like, I get it now. Like, this is the root of all of my money problems. Like, I remember when you said that. And because we think that, oh, we just need to like crunch all the numbers and then my debts will be gone. But like, if the root is still there, then you just have a nice spreadsheet with like formulas, you know. That's why it was so important for us to really understand like what was driving the behavior of not being able to say no or constantly saying yes to others and putting yourself last. And that's why that's why when you're able to reframe that, then you were able to see options instead of I'll just always compromise myself. And I also remember when you said na it's so new to me to finally focus on myself, to
yeah.
finally focus on my needs, to
Yes.
finally focus on my peace.
Mm-hmm.
And that also made you realize now also that's why I don't have the peace that I have because I haven't prioritized it. I just kept focusing on what everyone else needs from me. And I think that's why it was so important that we got into that root of all of the money problems, then it became easier to do the numbers. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, it can be just like, okay, mindset shift, but like, what's the tangible, right? It
Uh-huh.
has to be like hand in hand. And so that's why I always say also na, it's anything that you want to fix financially, it's only 10% crunching the numbers and it's 90% all
Mm-hmm.
of these mindset work that we need to have around money. And your journey is an example of that na you needed to understand like what was causing me to be paralyzed, what was causing me to overthink everything. Oh, it's because it's really there's a deeper reason behind why I kept giving and giving and not protecting my peace. And I feel like, someone's listening right now and they can feel that they also could feel that way na I have to constantly prioritize others for me to feel loved or for me to receive back love. And I think that's a very common Filipino mindset din kasi, 'di ba? Now, because of all of the shifts that you have with your mindset and being able to go out of that analysis paralysis, like from here, if you're comfortable sharing, like how much credit card debts have you now been able to pay off since we started working together? And when do you anticipate becoming completely debt free?
Oh my God. So I was saying that I used to stutter to say the numbers because for me it was just so huge. And aside from it makes me stutter, it makes me paralyzed, not knowing what to do next. I just look at the number. If you have that statement of account, you have that app on your phone, and the courage to open the phone application isn't there because from last month it would again be bigger.
Mm.
Yeah, so the credit cards that I actually have five credit cards. Oh my gosh. But because I had a good record before, the banks have given me good amount of credit limit. So the total of that, oh my gosh, was actually almost half a mil in pesos. And like, oh my God, how do I pay that off if that's not even, I earn, yes, but do I earn enough to pay that off? But I wasn't sure about that. So I was like, okay, never mind. I'm just not gonna look at that. I'm just not gonna pay the debt at all. I'm just gonna look, not gonna look at it, whatever. And then, so it's almost half a million. It's like 400,000 in pesos. And then when we were actually in the program already rolling, I think as early as we could, we already looked into the numbers because I would always mention it to you, like, Nick, this is the number now, like, and then you would say, okay, there are so many ways to attack the problem. So I had to call the bank, I had to reach out to them. Turns out that they've actually been reaching out to me to resolve my problem. That there were actually texts saying you have discounts that you can avail if you pay this or that. I think it was a domino effect from one bank to another, and then another, and then another. I
Mhm.
had just offers and calls, like, and the discount was really, really good that I just had to grab it. And I had the capacity to pay. Andun lang pala siya. It was sitting there on my phone and in my on my emails. But I didn't have the courage to look into it before kasi masyado akong takot, masyado akong
Mm.
nag-overthink. So right now that that 390,000 is paid off. We only have two left, which will be done because this is now as this interview, by the way, is end of October. So we will be done. We will be paying that one credit card tomorrow, and then the other will be finished by December. So I'll be welcoming the new year with no debts. I couldn't believe that because we were anticipating, you and I were in just that anticipation of, yes, of course, we were going to resolve the problem, but we'll be able to do it in 3 years' time. That was always the anticipation. But because I had the courage to finally face the problem, take your advice fully without hesitation, which was very important, because actually it was my hesitation that keeps on stopping me to
Mm.
actually get out of my situation. So, parang what a relief. And now you've mentioned a while ago that I'm so new because I'm so used to just surviving, paying off debts. And now I'm not used to, uy, I actually have money to place on, some safety fund, some freedom fund, and I'm not used to that mindset anymore because for like 2 3 years I'm just used to having the mindset of all I need to do is just to survive the day, and by the end of month pay some of my debts, pay the minimum amount of the debt so that the bank won't call me over and over again. But now it's just so freeing. The feeling is just so freeing that, oh my gosh, and so surreal that I'm actually in this place of freedom na I'm able to choose where I want to put my money. And it's very important because in one of your lessons with me, or your days with me, is that you are letting us realize that it's very important to be very specific. Where do you want to put your money?
Mm.
So parang, I'm in disbelief, but I'm very grateful na I'm at this stage that I don't have to wait 3 years anymore. Because imagine it, if I hadn't actually reached out to you, if I hadn't actually enrolled myself, nasan ako ngayon? I think I'm in the same place, just in the place of worry, place of fear, and I don't think I've ever moved forward from where I was before. So, yeah, I would always say that choosing to enroll to your program was actually choosing myself. From that moment where I signed up, and then that moment where I set aside the payment for your program, it also means setting aside something for myself, which I was not used to doing because I was just used to doing pleasing others, giving for them, and whatever is left is for me. But now it's the other way around. When I sit like every 15 days to look into my finances, just how you taught me to do it, it's just so happy to realize that you are actually prioritizing yourself, because that also means you are able to, if you want, you will be able to also to help others. Kasi it was the other way around before. I was the Rona who always gives and who doesn't care about how I feel. But then it's very important to actually care how I feel, to put myself first. Kasi if I don't do that, then I will neglect myself. And gosh, if I go back to that day where I enrolled to you, I will do it over and over again. And I will always say it. I will re-enroll to this program over and over again with a different version of myself. Because I think the one who enrolled to you 2021 is a different version of me who enrolled to you this year, 2025, and might be a different person who will enroll to you in the future. So yeah, choosing you is choosing myself, and I would never regret that decision.
I love that. Like, it makes me also reminisce to the time when we had our first coaching call, when you were like I could tell you were carrying the burdens of the world, in our first
Yes, because
session.
I was, because it feels like that.
Yeah, and just now seeing you finally prioritize your peace, yourself, like that's the most fulfilling thing for me, is to see like that, like ultimately you being more hopeful and more looking forward to like what's next after the debts. Like even now, for you to say na I'm welcoming the new year debt free, like I just want you to let that sink in. Because we just started July, right? Like our coaching started
Yes,
July.
July, August, and we had pauses because I had there were just so many things happening in my personal life that we had
Yeah.
reschedule some of the things health wise as well. But gosh, the change it made, the impact it made to me. And I would always go back into saying it is not just about financial. Yes, that's the main thing, but the effect that you've given me, Nick, is just so in every decision that I make in my life. Grabe, I will always go back into, I think, really you, to thanking you. Kasi nga, it's always you who made me realize how important it is for me to put myself first. And I think I would always say that you're just on the other side of the screen. We haven't even met in person, but you've impacted me more than anyone else in my life. So that's very, very important. That's a coaching program na, I don't know, hindi siya kayang tumbasan ng kahit ano. The lessons, the impact that you've given towards me, it's forever. So,
Yeah. And that means the world to me. It's like that's why I love this job. And I feel like I'll never get tired of this job. Because it's
please
like
don't.
sometimes it's like still so mind blowing to me that some like this is the kind of connection that we can create through a screen.
Uh-huh.
And to tell yourself now, okay, choosing to enroll here is choosing myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why every time we show up, every time we have our coaching session, I hold you to that standard. Like I want to make sure that every session we have, you're moving towards like that best version of yourself, like that standard of like why I'm here and why I
Mm-hmm.
chose myself. And also I feel like, as you said, na every session we have, it's like that opportunity for you to like let me reflect, like where do I really want to go, what's important to me, what do I want to prioritize. I feel like that in itself was so powerful for you because that allowed you to really rethink your choices, your decisions. And I feel like that's why you said na it's not just financial, because
Mm-hmm.
it made you now see, okay, if this is where I want to be, I want to make sure my finances will get me there. And so, speaking of, what goals now became more possible for you because you have this concrete plan of clearing your debts and you're going to be debt free by the new year? Like, what goals are now more possible for you?
Oh, so now the goals are more specified. That's one. Because prior enrolling to you, I shifted my career also. So from working in the country, now I'm working abroad. I was also expressing my frustrations to you, like, Nick, I'm actually working abroad and I'm here almost a year now, but what have I done? Like, what have I built? And I feel like I was just not going anywhere prior to, going to you, prior getting the coaching. But now I have this specific goals, like for example, there's a safe fund, there's a freedom fund where I get the freedom to choose wherever I want to use that money for. And now that I'm abroad and I'm in this long distance relationship with my mother and my sister, so there's that goal that every quarter of the year we'll be seeing each other. Also, given the profession of my sister, she works as a marine, so we're always in the other side of the country. So it's always been a goal now to maintain a good relationship with my mother, as someone who already lost a parent and now realizing that my mom is, not getting any younger. So it's always a goal now to make more and more memories with her and my sibling. So in order to do that, it's very important to set aside the money that you need for that, because during the trip, you don't want to be, you don't want to be stressed about, is this money enough to eat something good, or is this money enough? Before, I thought I'm gonna have my life here abroad, just focusing on finishing the debts for years. But now, yeah, when I think about it, I still can't believe na actually have that freedom already to choose where to put the money and be very specific about it. Kasi parang dati, oo nga no, pag natapos na to, when we were actually there, Nick, I remember that moment na parang, huy, matatapos na. Kasi meron tayong, was it the Freedom First?
Audit,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the Freedom First financial audit that you have, and then there you will list everything, the debts and everything. Tapos the timeline. What's the best thing about this is you have the timeline. You know what's happening on the next months and the months after that. So we were projecting that it's gonna be years and years of just paying. Pero tapos nakita natin dun, oh my gosh, matatapos na siya by next year. And then, within that 8 week lang, parang may na-achieve na ako na goals. So now I have to make another goal for myself. Like, how cool is that? Tas parang dati wala naman akong ganon. And so, before you, I felt like, wala. I was abroad. I'm here abroad, but for what? Parang wala namang, no impact, no big impact. Like, why did I have to go miles and miles and miles away from home if it will not just do a thing for me? So, but then, with your program, it really helped me to have that specific goals and look forward to that goal and work hard for that goal at the same time. So it's so inspiring because the reason why are you working hard away from home.
And it's not anymore, I'm working hard to pay off my debts. And
Yes.
that's a very different feeling for you to
Yes.
be like, before it was like, I'll just be here to pay off my debts. Now it's like, I'm working towards something better, a
Yes.
better version of me, a better life for me. And I remember also at the start of our sessions when I challenged you to look at what's after your debts. Because I knew it was hard for you to be like, I just need to pay this off. But then not realizing that when you're so focused on the debt problem, that problem grows. And
Uh-huh.
you can't see anything else. You can see options, you can see other possibilities for you. And so I feel like that was also like an integral part of the coaching that we had, was allowing you to see or helping you see other perspectives, options, possibilities, because from there the debt was just part of the steps but not the ultimate thing that you needed to do. And I feel like that really contributed to that feeling of feeling more free and feeling more at peace
Mm-hmm.
with knowing that I am in control with where my money is gonna go, and it's gonna go towards something more exciting and not just burdensome.
Yes, yes. And it was parang, for me, actually, when I looked at that exercise, parang it was kind of not easy for me to do. Kasi when you were in the situation, when you were drowning in debt, it would be really hard for you to envision what's gonna happen if this debt is not here anymore. It was not easy, but at the same time, it made me look forward, to that day that it's finally gonna happen. That I'm gonna be free from debt. And oh my God, um, we're just counting how many days before it actually finally happens. And actually, the debt that I have now is just a tenth of what I've already paid. So I'm very confident that I'm gonna finish that. And the feeling, wala siyang kasing tumbas na parang, oh my God, I'm only left with a tenth of what I usually have in terms of debt. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I wanna touch on what you said earlier about how important the financial audit was also, because yes, like the mindset shifts really helped you in overcoming the fears and having that courage to face your
Mhm.
debts, but then also how it translated to something concrete and tangible. So walk me through, like, how important was it that you were guided with crunching the numbers, in having the right exercises to really create a concrete plan? How do you think that really helped you in that debt-free journey?
Okay, so for those who are looking forward to enroll to her program, actually, um, week by week, uh, it's just getting better and better. So I remember we started with a sweet life map. That's where I mapped all the things I have envisioned for myself. And at first, parang, ano bang use nito? But, you make it um, more real. Parang, when you said do that exercise, you told us na you need to be specific, as real as possible. You need to feel how it feels. And then finally, we had that Fund Your Freedom exercise. Tapos meron ding, I think, ang pinaka madugo sa lahat would be the audit. Kasi I think it's when we actually jotted down everything. Like, we've listed everything from the least to the highest amount of the debts that I have. And then I was scared at first. And to be honest, even though we were already there, I still had doubts. I still have doubts to myself, like, oh my gosh, the numbers are actually huge. Will I be able to crush this? But there were you telling me that it's okay. It's because there's this thinking that it's part of the exercise. It's part of you solving that problem. So you have to list down everything, face face the problem, and then I remember there's this case study that you have let us watch before we actually jot down our own numbers. And then I realized, oh my God, those number were huge. Like, ang laki. Like, parang double siya or triple siya of what I have. And then I just came to realize that if that person can actually do it, then I can do it too. Like, these are just numbers. Like, I have the power to actually crush them all. So the program is so guided that you don't have to worry what's next, but you're actually gonna look forward what's gonna happen next. Like, okay, finally I've jotted down the numbers, what's gonna happen next, Nick? So the fear is now replaced by excitement, because okay, I'm aware. And then you see samples, you see case studies that are much, much worse, but they were actually able to resolve. So it makes you more excited and realize, oh my God, then how am I gonna do it then? You're just gonna get excited for yourself on the how are you gonna, crush the problem. And yeah, what I like about it is that it's so guided that you're not gonna come empty-handed. Like, hindi ka confused. You
Mm.
will never get confused on what's gonna happen next, because you know that after listing down the problem, you're gonna go to, okay, writing down the timeline. And ito pa yung pinakagusto ko, kasi hindi siya yung pushing you so much na you don't have the capability to do it. It's pushing you in a way that it's personalized kung ano yung kaya mo. So I think when we started, you looked at, okay, how much do you earn? And then it was never, no, 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 that's not enough. You need to earn more than that. No. So parang it was me nga who was pushing to, what if I do this? What if I do that? But we sat there and we said, no, what you have is enough. We're just gonna have to make it work. So, but my most favorite, I think, when I was able to go through all those exercises already was the 15-minute sustainable financial system that I have, that I'm so excited to do every month, that I don't have to do it twice, but I'm doing it every 15-30, because you have the option to do it every end of the month or every 15th of the month. It's so tailored to your personal needs that it's up to you to decide. And what I like about the program is it's not pushing you in a bad way. It's pushing you in a good way. And you know you are safe when you're in the program, because you need not to be anything more than what you are already. You just have to make things work for you. Tapos nandun lang siya, tapos hindi mo lang pala alam paano siya i-play onto your advantage. Because one of my doubts prior enrolling to the program, if is what if it's not enough? What if I have to do more? Or but now I am in the position that I want more, because that's my next goal. And then because I wanted to reassess things in life. And I believe now I have to just jump and upgrade my life. And it's not because you pushed me, oy, kailangan mo, kasi may babayaran kang utang. It was never like that. It was so tailored to you personally, that whatever you have in hand already, that you only have to make it work. And you did that with all those week by week by week by week. And it's just 8 weeks, but realizing how it changed and impacted my life, oh my gosh. Parang hindi siya 8 weeks, para siyang, yeah, I would think
Right.
about it, and I think like para siyang like the whole 365 days. So, grabe, parang the Rona I was before enrolling your program is a totally different Rona now that I graduated from your program. So,
I love that. Now when I think about it, when you're like, okay, the 8 weeks feels like 365 days. I think I know why, because I feel like I really condensed for every single week. I've condensed like everything that I have learned with like helping over 100 people already. I'm just like, I just want to make sure that everything that has worked for like my past clients, I do it in such a way that you are so guided na parang walang holes. Like you're just
ah,
gonna know na every week it's gonna build that confidence. It's gonna slowly like peel the doubts, gonna peel off the fears. Now before you know it, you're like, huh, I'm so different now. I
yes,
that's why like for me, I take so much pride in like every single module, because every module is like I feel like the heart that I put into every single client that I coach, like I put it in there so that when you watch it, it's like, okay, sabi mo, may case studies,
uh-huh.
may mga lessons from real people so that you can see yourself in them, but then also at the same time know that they went through the same process. So it
Mm-hmm,
kind of validates you na, okay, like, I just need to trust the process.
mm-hmm.
And I also want to mention, like, it's interesting how sometimes our fears could really block us from the solutions. Because I feel like that's the whole theme. I feel like the whole takeaway from our coaching together was like you realize na like all of the solutions that you figured out to pay off your debts were like right in front of you, but you couldn't see them because of your fears and your doubts.
Yes. My
Like,
fear and doubts, and also I have to mention that it was hard for me to forgive myself.
yeah.
Yeah. And you told me, there was this one session that you told me, it's very important. You asked me this question, have you forgiven yourself already? And how you decided about your money. And ooh, the impact of that, like, have I? And I didn't know that I had to do that. And then I realized that, yeah, it was actually a hard thing to accept that I've made a mistake, because I'm the kind of person who makes sure everything is right, everything is perfect. You made me realize like it's very important to choose myself over and over again, because it will impact every decision that I make. And yeah, it's huge. The impact is huge. The consequences are big, because guys, on the first thing that Nick will ask you is that set aside a time where you are not disturbed by anything or anyone, just you, yourself, and all of your reflections in life. So, yung action pa lang na yon is already choosing yourself. Kasi
Mhm.
you give time to yourself, that 30 minutes or 1 hour that you give to yourself, parang we always take that for granted. But when you look at
Mhm.
your day, how much out of that 24 hours you really give for yourself? Nothing. Lagi mo
Yeah.
yung na yung yung work mo, yung but this
Mhm.
program made me realize that I have to put myself first in a sense that by the start of the day, I should be looking into important things that actually matter to me.
Yeah. It's so crazy, right? Like how choosing yourself to be in this program, to enroll this program, created such a huge ripple effect to everything. Like that's
Yes.
why when you said that if you didn't, I feel like we'd see a different Rona. The same
Uh-huh.
Rona actually. But now because you decided to be like, I wanna choose myself this time, then you saw different results. Then you
Mhm.
created different actions. And so for someone who may be in that place who are like, okay, like I really wanna choose myself, I really wanna see a change in my debts, what would you tell someone who might be considering to work with me, but they might be afraid now, what if this just adds to my debts? Because they're drowning in it right now.
The only wrong thing that you're doing is prolonging it. Do not. You know, when I was there trying to decide if I should do it or should not do it, I think it will be more of a loss if I really didn't do it for myself. Because just imagine if that time has already passed and still I haven't enrolled to the program, then where did that money could have gone to? Like, if I did not choose it to actually set aside it for myself and enroll to your program, that money could have been, I don't know, given away to some people again or some things that actually didn't matter to me. But here I am on the first week, already had my ROI as soon as I enrolled to your program. And each month that I had to set aside, as what I've mentioned, is actually a moment for me also, like, to realize that I'm choosing myself because I'm setting aside something that is for me, a big chunk that is for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not used to that until I got used to it, that now
Mm-hmm.
it's the new program to my brain na, Oy, you have to set it aside for yourself, ha? So I think, yeah, to those of you who are trying to consider, I think there's no reason to mag-isip pa, magdalawang isip. Kasi I think it helped me. Walang ibang word on, but it will help you more because it will help you refocus everything. I know you're having doubts because you have the debts, and how can you resolve the debts if you're not focused on yourself? Enrolling in Nick's program, it's just, I don't know, I can't even explain the magic in there. But I think the only way to realize that is that if you actually enroll and work with her. Like, personally, I enrolled because I admire Nick so much and all the things that she's done, and I know some people also working with her that I know and how it impacted their lives, and I got so inspired by them. And now I'm still in this belief that I'm actually in this situation trying to be the one convincing, because I was once on the other side. I was once in that dark tunnel, didn't realize that there's still actually a light at the end of that. All I have is to walk through that. But I'm very glad that when I enrolled to Nick's program, I didn't have to walk alone since. So she walked through me with it until I saw the light. And she knows all along that there's actually a light. But me, it was hard for me to believe when I was alone. But yeah, having her with me, beside me, going through everything, it just makes life easier. So yeah, instead of you running to the whoever you think you could tell your problem with about your finances, I think it's better if you just run to the right person who will have the same goal as you, and who will make you really focus on that goal. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It also was such a surreal moment for me when you're like, before I was the one on the other side trying to convince myself. Now you're the one doing the convincing for someone else to choose themselves. Because I like how you also talked about like the analogy of like being in a dark tunnel.
Mm-hmm,
Because I feel
mm-hmm.
like that's what coaching is for me. It's like I walk with you in that dark tunnel, but the difference is I'm holding the flashlight for you so that you
Yes.
see like, wait, there isn't just you don't have to walk through this tunnel blindly or
Mm-hmm,
like in fear or like
mm-hmm.
wondering like nasaan na ba ako or like saan ba ako patungo. You know, the difference is that you're in the same tunnel but I'm with you and then I show you like, hey, wait, there are so many paths in front of you. Choose. Like
Mm-hmm,
you've always had the power to choose.
mm-hmm.
And I feel like if anything, that's what I loved the most from our time together is that you were reminded that you've always been capable. You've always had the last say with your money. You've always had the power to make the best decisions for yourself. And I feel like that's what makes this journey priceless for you is that you've taken back that power within yourself that you've always had that
Oh
you
my
just
God.
forgot.
Yeah, what I love about you is when you always make me realize I had it in me.
Yeah.
I always had it in me, but you just needed someone who will push you, and in this case, that was you. Oh, I'm very, very happy, Nick. And if I could go back to that time, I would really do it over and over again. I'm very, very happy. I have no regrets. And gosh, I don't want to be emotional, but you know that I'm always emotional. But I just want to thank you, more than anyone else. You understood me. You never judged, and each week that we have to sit down and I have to discuss to you the money problem that I have, you never really judged. And that's very, very important, I think, to those people who are in my situation because it's not easy. It's really hard to actually face the problem. And I know, like, whoever is watching, they will always go back to that day that realizing or saying, I am not this kind of person, but how did I come to this? Because I was once that, like, I never had a money problem, and then one day I had a huge money problem, and then I didn't know what to do because I don't realize that person. I am not that person. I don't realize that person. But when I went to you and I told all the things, all the shameful things that I've done, you were never in question. Like, how did you do that? Why did you do that? They were never like that. Because I'm saying it from my side of the story that I once tried to go to my closest people, but all they
Mm.
had to say was, "Why did you do that?"
Mm.
So yeah. Oh, I'm gonna tear up now. But it was different with you. You never made me feel that. You always focus on the goal that you will or that I will get out of that situation, and then that you will be with me all the way. You never really left, and even at the times when I was hesitating, I was not actually very confident to I will be able to do it. I was giving up again and again, and you were like, just no, focus on the goal, put that blinders on, focus on yourself. So it was very important, yeah, because I'll just do it over and over again. I don't know if you feel the impact that you've done, but Nick, it was so huge that I don't know if I will be able to be at the stage na uy, yung big chunk ng problem mo wala na. Kasi when I try to resolve it and ask help from the wrong people, they just zoomed in how I
Mm.
made a mistake. Like, huh? You're Rona. You made that mistake? No. But when I went to you,
Mm.
it was never like that. It was never a why. It was just always how can we resolve the problem, and the reassuring from time to time that you were there. I'm here to say that there's a way out. Uh, there's a way out. So don't feel hopeless, and it's very important to grab a hand who actually helps and never judge.
Pati ako malapit na mag-emote, kailangan kong pigilan yung tears ko.
Yeah.
Because that really means a lot to me, because this is why I do the work that I do. It's like, because I also know how it feels like to go to the wrong people, to be judged by the wrong people, and being that safe person for my
Uh-huh.
clients, for you.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes that's all that you really need to actually
Mhm.
do the thing that you want to do, to achieve the things that you want to do, and for you to say that and be that testament. It's like it means the world to me that you get to feel that impact through the screen.
Yes, you're the light on the map. You you served as the light in the dark tunnel, and you rolled out the map, to where should I go. And haven't I done that? I don't think I am where I am now, because maybe I'll get there, but it will take me much more time. And we don't really have that time in the world. I think coaches are one of the most selfless people, kasi you coach a person and then they would just go a long way.
Mm.
Tapos, 'di ba, sobrang selfless nyo lang na you wanted to give and to give to your students. So, wala lang. Thank you for existing.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
being here.
Thank you for sharing that magic, Nick. I wish that you'll be able to, like, more people will get to experience the Nick magic. I think that should
Aw.
be your. I'll be welcoming the new year with no debts. The feeling is just so freeing and so surreal that I'm actually in this place of freedom. I'm able to choose where I want to put my money. Before, I thought I'm gonna have my life here abroad, just focusing on finishing the debts for years. Really made me realize what was the root cause of all of this. Choosing to enroll to your program was actually choosing myself. Instead of you running to the whoever you think you could tell your problem with about your finances, I think it's better if you just run to the right person who will have the same goal as you.